November has finally arrived, and with it, many of our team members are in the woods. We ended the last episode with a great hunt from Jared Mills, in which he shot a beautiful 10-pointer in a snow-covered river bottom. 170 miles to the north, I'm also on stand this morning, the final day of the trip back to the bluff country of my boyhood hunting grounds. Drake and I sit in a stand we put up 2 days earlier. It is the ideal morning location, high on a bedding ridge with a solid northwest wind.
November 1st. Welcome to November. It's been a weird year though. We were just talking in the tree stand a couple of days ago that it felt more like the 25th of November than the 25th of October. It's just been a lot more high quality hunting this past month than what we see most years in October. This morning we're back on the same spot that we've hunted the last 2 mornings. And there's been a little fawn down below us eating acorns earlier, but that's been it so far, but it's only, just barely into legal shooting time. We're gonna stick until about 10, which is pretty early for a morning hunt, but we got a lot of stuff we have to do. Clean up around camp, pull in our tree stands, get organized, drive all the way back down to where I live in southern Iowa. So that's the plan. We got about just less than 3 hours here on the ridge, and that will end our trip to northeast Iowa this year, and hopefully it's something we can do every year. It's been a lot of fun. It really has.
I don't think we've seen him before. Here comes little buddy after her first. Big buddy's gonna be along pretty soon. Oh, right through the brush. There's another buck coming down the trail, way up on top. So we've got 4 bucks. Three 1.5-year-olds and a 2-year-old. I think that's a different buck again, isn't it? It's not our shooter, is it? Yep, that's our buck.
Oh, that's the deer you saw?
Yeah, good morning. Yep.
That's the same buck that we saw 2 mornings ago when we were leaving this stand and heading back to camp. We jumped and bedded about, 250 yards away, 300 yards away. And I have to make a decision because he's a pretty solid buck, but if I fill my tag today, then I'm going to be sitting out for the whole month of November. And I don't know if I can handle that. I'd almost have to find another state to go hunt because I don't want to be in my office working for the whole month of November. But that's a deer that, if he gives us a shot, would be pretty tough to pass up here on this trip. So he may not come back past again, but if he does, I'm going to have to make that decision.
After the buck leaves, I ponder what I'm going to do should he actually come within range. I have just one more tag for the rest of the month, and it is only the first day. Do I really want to be done this soon? As I wait, 145 miles to the southeast, team member Warren Dykstra is on stand as well. His landscape is also covered in a thick layer of snow.
It's November 1st. It's about 18 degrees out here. We got about 3 inches of snow. That feels more like gun season than it does bow season. The way this sits up, we got a big doe bedding area to the southwest of us. It's perfect this morning. The winds are out of the southwest. So we're hoping we'll get a couple of our bucks cruising this top edge here and checking does. We're in here looking mainly for muley and split route 10. We're hoping that one of the does come by, bring out one of our shooters. So we're just settling here and see what happens. There's a shooter, man. Come down that other ridge. Come on, shoot him. Why? Okay. Yes! Yes! We've been waiting all year for that. That's Muley. We've been hoping to get on him. We had one encounter with him last year. It's been a wonderful sit. First we had a doe come over. Then I told Matt there's a buck coming down behind her, but I couldn't tell which one it was at first. But then, as he got closer, we could tell it was Muley. Everything worked out perfect. Thank you, Lord. We're gonna get down here a little bit. We saw him fall. We're gonna give him just a little bit anyhow, and then go get him and get down and show you what he is. Oh. As bow hunters, we always love to turn the calendar to November. This is exactly why. We know the first of November brings the rut and bucks, and they're going to be up chasing does. Makes it a lot easier to get on them. Our plan for getting on this guy, we knew he was here all summer. We've been actually had pictures of him all summer and last year. The way we wanted to get on him this year is we used the Cuddy Link system and put the camera just to the north of one of the main bedding areas. Hung a stand there early because we knew that there was always big deer in there, and then we just stayed out of it. Our first hunt was last night on Halloween, and we actually saw him chasing a doe on the way in. Had a good sit, saw 12 deer total. 5 of them were bucks, all 2.5 and 1.5 year olds. But so our plan was to get back in this morning. He ended up following a couple does in, and actually couldn't have worked any better. He came right up the trail we were hoping and gave us a shot.
Back in northeast Iowa, we are enjoying the perfect morning.
I think that's him. Nope, right on the trail right now. Yep. Am I good to stand?
got pretty dicey there about 5 minutes ago. That buck was coming right down the trail. There's a logging road that runs through this part of the farm, and he was coming right straight toward us on that logging road. And it was adrenaline time there for just a little short while. He stopped right at 40, and he did give a broadside shot there, but I would have had to grunt and stop him, and then, it wouldn't have been good. So we've got about an hour and 20 minutes left. And there's a pretty good chance that the way he was acting there, we might see that deer again. But that is the biggest one, the most mature buck that we know of on this part of the farm. Not to say that something else couldn't show up, of course, but that's been the one that we've been trying to get, at least a better look at. I'm still pretty divided on shooting that deer and then having the whole month of November without an Iowa tag. But we haven't had to make that decision yet, so we'll have to see here in the next hour and 20 minutes if he puts me in that position where I have to decide. That was round 3 with that buck. And I made up my mind when he was 20 yards away, head on, that I was going to shoot the deer, but not a head-on shot, but when he was coming in like that, he looked really good. He looked better at close range than what he did when he was chasing that doe through the brush earlier, or even when he was down there making that scrape. He's a nice buck. He was just, one of those deals where he was coming straight at me. I didn't want to draw when he was coming straight at me. And then he kind of saw us up here. And then there was no way I was going to draw. I knew he was going to turn. And if I would have been at full draw, I think I could have had a shot there as he was turning. But it happened too fast for me to get the bow back and then possibly get a shot as he was turning. He just took off after, he found another doe behind us and took off after her. So, we might see that buck again. We got about another hour till we've got to start packing up here, but we could have one more crack at him before the morning's over.
And for the first time this fall, I had 3 does at a dead run being chased. Mm-hmm. And I heard a grunt behind him, but I couldn't see what that was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, things are...
It was a good morning.
It's November, right?
Yeah. Just the calendar clicked and the deer said, "Oh, November."
My trip back home is over, but I'm sure I'll return. Getting back in the bluffs only whetted my appetite for more. If not this season, for sure next. That evening, 165 miles to the southwest in central Iowa, team member Caleb Greiner is on stand, waiting for the action to begin.
Welcome back, guys. It is the evening of November 1st, and I'm down here back at my river bottom farm. Conditions are absolutely gorgeous. 10-mile-an-hour wind. It's in the low 30s right now. So, actually, one thing I should mention is off to my west, I've actually got neighbors actually picking corn right now. So, when I was walking in, I did actually see a little buck and a few does, and just not too long ago, there was a little buck feeding out here in this corn in front of me. So hopefully something comes out, hits this appetizer, this big and beastie out in front of me, and heads off into the corn. So I'm just going to sit back, get quiet, and it should be an exciting evening.
The action on the river bottom is constant. Now Caleb waits for the right buck to make his way into the plot. 175 miles farther to the south, in northern Missouri, team member Tyler Behlman is back in action, hoping to see the buck he calls Wishbone for the first time this season. Using a trail cut through the nearby cornfield, Tyler enters the redneck blind undetected.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is finally the time of the year that we've all been waiting for, November 1st. And Justin and I have just got settled into the redneck blind here on our main farm. We're in here after that Wishbone buck. He's been all over the cuttybacks. That's who we're in here after. We know he's been using this particular area based off the most recent information that we have. We've had some pretty crazy weather here in Missouri. It's already snowed, and now we're back up into the 50s today, so nonetheless, we're hunting another big front, and it's November 1st. We got to be here. It's just going to be that time of year. I officially started my vacation, so we're going to have a 10-day stretch here where we're really going to hit it hard and really start focusing in on Wishbone. That's going to be our plans for the next 10 days. We're excited, and we're going to get settled in here. That's them 3 bucks. That's them 3 bucks. I went to that trail earlier. It is a buck parade tonight so far. This is awesome. That's that 6x5 3-year-old, I believe. Yep. Man, he's got exactly what we want. Beautiful buck. That's that 8-pointer with the tall brows who just stepped out over here. Dude, there he is. There he is. He's in the cab. He's in the cab. He's in the cab. You think I should close this window or leave it? That's Wishbone. That's who we're in here after. He's gonna make a move. Just to be careful, this deer over here in the pines is looking at us. He's gonna follow her wherever she goes. What did he not like? Well, as you can tell, I'm no longer sitting in a redneck blind, and unfortunately I'm not sitting behind Wishbone, but nonetheless a great hunt. We got to lay our eyes on Wishbone. He did exactly what we wanted him to. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of commotion, pushed him back into the timber for just enough time for us to run out of camera light, and from what I could tell, he was bedded down in the clover plot as we left. I had a little bit of moonlight, and the wind picked up just enough to ruffle the leaves. We snuck out of the back of the redneck blind and out of the corn maze, and there's only one thing that we can do, and that's head back in there tomorrow evening in hopes that he's still using that general area with that hot doe. But this is why we do it. This is great. It was an awesome hunt, and this story continues, and we can't wait to get back in there tomorrow evening.
Back in central Iowa, Caleb Griner's hunt is taking shape.
Well, guys, it was a pretty good sit this evening for, 3-4 hours. But I want to talk about those bucks that I saw. The one that was directly under me, you guys are probably thinking I'm crazy for passing, but that's actually the old 10. It's a great deer, awesome deer. It's just not something that I have my sights set on right now. As you guys saw later in the hunt, I filmed a really nice typical 10 out in the CRP behind me, and definite shooter. That's something that I'm kind of looking for right now. Turkey foot is another buck that's on the radar for this farm, but hopefully when Collins gets here tomorrow night, probably going to hunt the same exact stand, and hopefully that old 10 walks out, because I'd be more than happy to let Collins shoot that deer.
This month's early magic doesn't end with Caleb's encounter, or even with Warren's kill. In Wisconsin, team member Elliott Smith also pursues a great buck.
Finally got to him. This is a deer that I've had a lot of history with. We got 2 sheds off of him, and he just blew up this year. It's a buck that I call Crowns, and I couldn't be happier, dude. He's way bigger than I thought. It's not too often they grow. Oh, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to say. It's a giant.
Mike Reed gives up on the huge-bodied buck he called Sherman and turns all his attention to the River Bottom farm. Josh Sparks switches stand locations on the new piece of public land he is hunting, encountering a buck that gets cameraman Max Mongrello's blood pumping enough to grab for his bow.
Doesn't get any more of 0 to 100 than that right there.
Thus concludes day 1 of the best month of the year. The first day of November is often more of an on-ramp than a destination. It turns us toward the dream. But this year was different. The month's first day was the dream. It was action-packed. Anxiously, we all wait for tomorrow. Hopefully it will be just as good. But either way, we will breathe in the crisp, cool air and let it out slowly with a relieved sigh. We finally made it. We are chasing November.